Good morning. This is Pastor Zach with the Goodland United Methodist Church with the morning devotion for Tuesday, September 5th. Today we'll be reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 16 to 24. If I proclaim the gospel, that gives me no ground for boasting, for an obligation is laid on me, and woe to me if I do not proclaim the gospel. For if I do this of my own will, I have a reward, but if not my own will, I am entrusted with a commission. What then is my reward? Just this, that in my proclamation I may make the gospel free of charge, so as not to make full use of my rights in the gospel. For though I am free with respect to all, I have made myself a slave to all, so that I might win more of them. To the Jews I became a Jew in order to win Jews. To those under the law I became one who was under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so that I might win those under the law. To those outside the law I became as one outside the law, though I am not free from God's law, but under Christ's law, so that I might win those outside the law. To the weak I became weak, so that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all people, that I might by all means save some. I do it all for the sake of the gospel, so that I may share in its blessing. Do you not know that in a race that the runners all compete, but only one wins the prize? Run in such a way that you may win it. Paul's statement in 1 Corinthians is best understood in light of the argument that precedes it, beginning at the beginning of today's reading. Woe to me if I do not speak the gospel. He speaks helpfully to a present-day society that often approaches life, particularly their faith life, through the lens of self-centered, self-protective sense of entitlement. It's easy to assume that God favors church people over the unchurched people, and to act as if church people do not need to think about how their own practices and attitudes might unhelpfully assure that those unchurched stay away. Too often we give those outside the faith no reason to feel invited or welcome to become insiders. Paul hopes that others might share the benefits of a relationship with Christ. His words suggest that people in a relationship with Christ actually want to understand what matters to those who are not. They actually want to act toward others in ways that demonstrate respect for their status as human beings, created and beloved by God, even before or apart from the explicit relationship with God. Paul remembers the God who sought him and the people who showed him, not just told him that God was seeking him, and most importantly, was seeking him along with seeking everyone else on the planet. Paul understood that God's desire to be in a relationship with him was about him, but not only about him. In order for Paul to become a Jew, he already was one, but was seeking to connect with those of his own people who did not share his new understanding and practices. He had to care about a group of people who differed from him, care enough to meet them on their own terms, whether Jew or Gentile, under the law or outside the law, under the gospel or outside the gospel, strong or weak, seeker of the things of Christ or seeker of the things of this world. In order to connect with them and guide them to the fullness of life in Christ, he had at least had to know them, seek to understand them, try to see the world through their eyes, attempt to see the ways that they see their own stories before telling them of a larger gospel story. Goodland United Methodist Church will begin up Wednesday Night Live again tomorrow for ages pre-K through 6th grade. We'll begin registration at 6:15 with opening worship with everyone at 6:30 in the sanctuary. We hope to see you there. Have a blessed Tuesday.